Hello there, and welcome again to Sweet Child of Time, a show where we introduce a sweet child to the televised world of the Wheel of Time. I'm Steve Barnes, one of your hosts. Coming in there, we're listening to the mighty Hewolf, Richmond, Virginia's own, a power trio. You could call them a super group because it's featuring Paul Burnett of Darkest Hour, Johnny Throckmorton of Alabama Thunder Pussy, and Eric Josephson on drums. He's from Crackhead and Hex Machine, so everybody from Richmond knows these guys. They got these dark, catchy, sleaze, grunge riffs, but they're super tight. These guys are fantastic. I just saw them last week, and they're playing again March 19th at the Garden Grove in Carytown. So if you're a Richmonder, please check out Hewolf. And another reason that we should like Hewolf a lot, as I'm bringing in my co-host, is because they are always super supportive of everything that Intravoid, Rebecca Crow, or Sweet Child of Time has done. Super supportive fellas from Richmond. And another super supportive guy I know is my co-host. You might know him as the Marshland Monster, or you might know him as James McCullum. He is my co-host. I see you, James.
I see you as well, sir.
Nice.
Did I do it correctly?
I see you with your blue blockers on as the first thing I see.
Yeah, I got to make sure my eyes are ready and able to look at a screen for many hours a day.
Yes. I also interrupted you. What did you say when I interrupted you there? Anything important?
Did I do it correct?
You did it absolutely. I mean, if you can actually see me, I mean, do you see that I've not really had a great week and that, we're kind of struggling? Do you see that, got some things going on?
I see you. And also, this is a good flip-flop because last week I was in that position, but I think I figured what happened is, one, learn how to speak better, James, and I think it's because I used to drink cold brew. I don't know if I discussed this last time.
No.
But I realized it was making my bones vibrate. So I had to stop, and it would immediately make me crash. But I love the taste of cold brew.
Absolutely.
But then Nicole's family does a white elephant gift exchange thing that you can trade and whatnot. And usually the gifts are people just grabbed something and just
generic.
Yes. But the one I got last year was a cold brew maker. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, I'll just use decaf coffee. For some weird reason, decaf is still making me crash, not as hard. But I think that's what was happening.
It still contains a small amount of caffeine, and when you cold brew it, you're super hyping up that little caffeine that's there. So it makes it like a weak coffee, basically. Before I was like, oh, I can't do cold brew anymore. I was doing this TikTok series where I was just cold brewing different liquids. I did eggnog. I did creamer to cut out the middleman. But I was like, oh, this is taking way too long. It's a huge commitment, especially when you do things like eggnog. Hey, you cold brew over for 24 hours, you're good. But with eggnog, it was 4 days I had to let it seep. Yeah, because I cold brew too, and 24 hours was long enough. So 4 days?
Yeah. So
jeez.
I was like, there's the risk reward is too much risk and the reward not too much. And then I wanted to do things like wine, hot sauce, things of that ilk to be like, hey guys, is this tasting good?
Right on. One thing that goes great with cold brew and coffee is books. So I want to get right into our book segment, James.
Books, check them out. Books, check them out. Pick up a book. You got a fantasy, imagination can take you to where you want to be. Are you curious? How can you find out? Books, check them out. Books, check them out. Read about stars and cars, play electric guitars, or cops that work hard, patrolling the boulevard, the heavyweight champ and his craziest bout. Books, check them out. Books, check them out. At your library.
You've been reading some books lately. Have you continued reading since last week?
Yeah. Oh, I've been deep diving. I would have probably gotten finished with My Life in Tunes by Joe Barbera, But for Saturday's live stream, I'm going deep into Small Soldiers lore, and that includes a fictitious dossier by Irwin Benson, or it might be his name. What the dude David Cross played in the movie, and it's fantastic. I loved it. It was maybe an hour read in total. Did it in 2 sittings. It's a children's book, which is weird because it's not a children's movie.
I'm not 100%
It's
familiar.
insane.
I mean, I kind of remember Small Soldiers, but not really.
Dude, it is so good because like Joe Dante made it, the Gremlins dude, and his idea was, hey, this is going to be a commentary on capitalism, Americans, the United States, as I should say, obsession with materials, possessive material. What's the word I'm looking for?
Consumerism?
Yeah, consumerism. Thank you. And militarization. And then the studio was like, well, it's toys. It's a kid's movie. And he's like, no. Like, it's a teen movie. And then there were so many explosions and just so much disturbing stuff in it. The studio was like, hey, we'll give you a PG-13, but let's make it a soft PG-13. Take out a lot of the explosions and like cut back on this scene where like pseudo Barbie dolls are electrocuting a young Kirsten Dunst. It's baffling, guys, but it's an amazing movie. And the book comments on a lot of that consumerism stuff as well, in like tongue-in-cheeky wise.
Yeah, the Harry Potter books are definitely read for kids. They're an easy read, but they're a fantastic fun read at the same time. I'm reading something definitely not for children. Well, first off, I'm on The Knife of Dreams right now, which is the 11th book of Wheel of Time. I'm on the tail end of it now. I've been reading it for like the past month, I guess, on and off. But I'm also reading The Dirt, the Motley Crue biography. My hard copy I had, it was like an album cover and a nice little case and all that stuff. I gave that to my nephew, but I wanted to pick it up again a couple weeks ago, so I got the digital copy to reread it. And the way it's written, fantasy fans of Wheel of Time or Game of Thrones, the kind of books that will have like multiple characters' perspectives through different chapters. That's exactly what The Dirt does with Motley Crue, where like each chapter is written not just by different band members, but by managers, ex-band members, groupies, photographers, studio heads. Like everybody gets their say, everybody gets their chapter from their perspective. So it's a really great read. And I've been reading the Mick Mars chapters because he's the Motley Crue guy that I guess I relate to the most. He's the guy that I was always home by 10 p.m. and never really partied too much. And when he was partying, he was just sitting in a corner looking kind of miserable. So, and his writing kind of reflects that as well. He's kind of a miserable guy, but I really enjoy reading his chapters.
I will not say names of the band or the lead singer of the band. There was a very popular post-hardcore screamo band in the mid-2000s to late 2000s that their lead singer they kicked out because they didn't party enough. He was like hey, I'm on the tour bus by this time. I'm going to try to sleep, all of that. Or I should say lead screamer of the band, because I think they had a clean vocalist and a scream vocalist.
Love that.
A friend from high school went to youth group with this person. Listeners of my podcast will be like, oh, I think we know who he's talking about now. He joined the band, partied too hard, and then they kicked him out of the band because of partying too hard. And it's because I think he like dropped out of school because he's like, hey, or like his senior year, he was like, I'm in this touring band. We're on like the Vans Warped tour, things like that, and hit it too hard.
So the first guy didn't party enough. The second guy partied too much, and the third guy partied just right. Is that correct?
I think The band disbanded.
They sound kind of, they sound a little bit bipolar to me.
Oh, absolutely. Also, like, that's a conversation of like, hey, we like that you're partying too hard. When you get a bunch of young dudes, I guess, coming together on tour, no one has the emotional maturity to be able to say like, hey guys, this is what we're about. Let's make sure we're all within this little circle.
Man, I got 2 show announcements I want to make, not just for the listeners, but for you as well, James. These are announcements for you. First announcement is not related to me, but related to Wheel of Time in general. The WOT fan edit has been released. It's not available on YouTube, but it's available on Reddit if you search the hashtag WOT fan edit. You can probably find it on Twitter as well. And this is where this group of people took the TV show, all 8 episodes, and condensed it down to about a 3.5 to 4 hour movie. That the scenes that they have on YouTube are fantastic. They can't release the movie on YouTube for copyright reasons, but it's being shared among the Wheel of Time community. So if you're listening to this and you haven't seen it, check out Reddit or just get in touch with me through Instagram or through sweetchildoftimepod@gmail.com, and I'll share my copy with you. But that is out. It was supposed to come out this weekend, and they released it yesterday. Very exciting news. Also, this podcast.
Can I say something real quick? Yeah, I made a fan edit of Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, and it's just the opening credits. Heating on them.
Yeah, the opening credits were pretty great. And if you kept watching after that, you might have seen some good acting, some good storytelling, some suspense. You might have seen some horror. You might have seen a lot of things you like. But
I watched a video by Maggie Mayfish talking about she went into all the fan theories of it was about auteur filmmaking, and it was about Kubrick and David Lynch, and I was like, holy shit, this is the perfect video for me to figure out why people like these two. And it was like, hey, David Lynch on set does it how it should be done, and Stanley Kubrick, absolutely not, was just a tyrant to everyone involved. But I liked her analysis of the movie of saying Jack Torrance was crazy all along. He was an abuser, and he wanted to murder his family. And there's a scene where he said, like, oh, I don't know anything about this Overbrook. But then to, like, in quotes, a ghost says, oh, yeah, I read about you on the news and what happened, implying that he already knew about it, which means he could have killed them, claimed insanity, gotten out of an asylum early, and been good forever. He got away with murder. But I also like that whenever he's talking to an, in quotes, ghost, he's looking, there's a mirror somewhere in the room, implying that he is talking to his insanity and trying to rationalize what he's doing, opposed to just like, oh, the ghosts made him crazy. No, like, this dude was a jackass and an insufferable person the entire time.
Yeah, he was a mark. Absolutely. Yeah, it's clear from like the first time you meet him in the interview that that's the way he is. It's also clear, like, when at the end of the movie where they show, like, you know, that they've panned in on the photograph and it's like from 1920 and it's a dude that looks just like him, who's like the owner of the hotel. It kind of ties in with our Wheel of Time, where they were saying in that lantern ceremony, you know, you come back, you don't remember your old life, but you always come back. And I think Jack Torrance always ends up back there at the Overlook Hotel. It's kind of like I don't know. They've ruined it, I think, with a bunch of remakes and prequels and sequels and stuff. But if you look at that movie on its own, like I do, I just look at that movie like by itself and look at that book, The Shining, like as its own thing.
So you say 2 thumbs down
I say 2 thumbs up all the way up your butt, James.
Oh, man, it sucks, guys.
My second announcement. is that every 5th episode of this show, Sweet Child of Time, I'm going to take the music clips from the previous 4 episodes, which will be 12 of them, and I'm going to release a music-only episode where you'll hear me and James do an intro, but I'm going to play all 12 songs in their entirety. I'll be releasing that as an episode. So the episode next to the next episode is going to be an all-music episode where you'll be able to hear all these songs from Hewolf and from Voidmaster and from everybody else who sent music in. One episode.
Geez, how could I do that for Mostly Speaking Sentai? That'd be it'd be easier on me to edit. I guess just like an all cum joke episode. the past 4 episodes, you get all the cum jokes, guys.
Now I got an idea. You play all your past guests, such as like Steve Barnes and Comatose, and you put out like a nice little mixtape. Yeah.
All right. We don't have too many musicians.
Well, I just named 2, and I'm looking at a 3rd.
Oh, we just play in its entirety the audio only of like a Morphbots episode or a Street Wizard's Apprentice episode. These are our friend Melzer. He's in a collective called Muscular Clown, and they make amazing comedy shorts. Please check them out.
I will. Every time you tell me to check something out, I usually do, unless it's a TV show. And then I'm like, nope, I'm not going to check that out.
These are shorts. I did music for Todd Grobin's Going Away Party, and one that's coming out, I don't know when, I hope soon. It's a horror short, and he said, hey, I want a creepy version of Rockabye Baby in the style of like 80s John Carpenter stuff. And I was like, all right, I'll do it. And it sounds dope. We knocked it out of the park with that song.
Yeah, the description alone sells it for me, so I'm checking it out.
I'll send you the music because it probably won't be coming out until October.
Oh, great. So yeah, a little sneak peek for me and not for the listeners. Awesome. Well, those are our announcements. We talk music, we talk books. I'm going to take a break, James. And when we come back, we're going to get right back into Leavetaking, Wheel of Time, okay?
Yeah.
And we are back. I haven't lost James in the process. You still there, right, James?
Yes, I am, sir.
Hell yes. Never a problem on this show. We came back in listening to our buddies Futureprojektor. We just saw Futureprojektor also with Hewolf last week. These guys are an instrumental group, also out of Richmond, Virginia. Adam Kravitz on guitar, and he's pretty much the concept guy. And when these guys play, they have a giant projector behind them, which they project images made by Adam. They have behind them there, and it's a great show. They got Kevin White on drums, and he's like the Richmond drum legend. Sean Plunkett on bass. That song we just heard was Of Sacred Water 2. I chose that song because it's my favorite song off this album, Terma, that they put out. They're working on a new album from what I hear. I haven't heard any new material yet, but I can't wait. They're going to be playing again March 26th, but nobody knows where yet. It's a secret. Do you know where yet, James?
Wait, it's a secret's gonna be there?
It's a secret where the show's going to be. Like, we know that there's going to be a show March 26th, but Adam hasn't told anybody. Has he told you?
No, I thought you were talking about defunct Muskegon, Michigan band It's a Secret.
I'm going to find out if maybe they're opening for Futureprojektor. Do you think their music would mesh well with Futureprojektor's music?
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
Are they power pop punk? I just heard them. I think it'll mesh very well. It'll vaginal mesh very well.
Let's get into Leavetaking Part 2 of Sweet Child of Time.
Is that the name of this episode?
Leavetaking, that's correct. Because they're taking their leave. That's a spoiler for the end of this episode, but yes, Leavetaking. We left off last time, and we were right at minute mark 29. And we're back in the village. I'm starting us off here where the three men, I should say. They're 20 years old. They're sitting around a table.
Age.
They're of age. Moraine's being creepy, looking out the window at them. Perrin and Rand offer Matt a little bit of money. Do you have any notes for this scene?
I don't think I do. I forgot his name was Rand.
Because we're Rand for Rand. I can't believe you forgot your joke.
Yeah.
I have a big note from this scene, and that is, this is a life tip that everybody could take. If somebody offers you something that you desperately want and need, like money, in Matt's case, you politely refuse, stoically refuse. They offer again. They insist. Here, man, take it. Then you politely say, thank you, I really appreciate it, and you accept it. I think Matt did the exact right thing in this situation. Instead of belaboring the situation and making a big thing of it, he acted completely accordingly. That was my note.
Now, if it's something that you desperately need, in the lines of, I don't know, a Yogi Bear merchandise.
Right.
And someone offers to send it to James McCullum, P.O. Box 180036 at 2011 West Montrose Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60618. That's a situation where you immediately say, yes, send it to me.
I will follow that advice. I think I'm going to turn back time and send you something 3 weeks ago. That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. You did.
So Moraine is watching the boys as she's doing this, and then we cut over to Rand and Tam up in the mountains. Beautiful scenery. I didn't mention last time that this show is filmed in Prague. It was filmed pre-pandemic, so we're talking 2019. They're up there with their lanterns, and they're talking about Beltane, which is a ceremony that they do with the lanterns, and they light the candles in the lanterns. Now, I mentioned the lanterns last episode, how Matt traded in his stolen bracelet for a couple lanterns, and you know now what the lanterns I'm referring to, right?
Yes, I luckily rewatched this just in the spot where I'm like, oh, okay, hell yeah, I know what is going on with these lanterns.
So yeah, Matt's got a couple of them now. That's what Perrin, suggests to Matt to do with the money. He's like, here, you can get some lanterns with this. Of course, Matt's already got his lanterns because he's already swiped the bracelet from Dana, which we're not big fans of. And that's something I wanted to, that's a good bumper to say this. These characters that we're watching on this show, these are the television characters of the Wheel of Time. These are not the book characters of the Wheel of Time. You have to think about this as a different thread, a different pattern of the universe, like a parallel universe. These characters are not the same as they are in the books. And it's apparent, especially with the Matt character. All the observations I'm making about Matt, about him being a gambling addict, about his mom being a drunk, etc. These are television show observations. These are not book observations. So I'm talking about the Matt that we see in this show.
Yeah, you dumbass nerds listening.
Yeah. I tried to explain it to them nicely, but if they don't get it by this time, then they are dumbass nerds.
I'll punch them.
Rand and
digitally.
Rand and Tam are up in up in their home. They're hanging their lanterns up. Michael McElhatton has given us a great speech about the Wheel of Time, about reincarnation, that they don't really necessarily need to be there in bell time with everybody else, which is the ceremony they're celebrating. They're not just celebrating Egwene becoming a member of the women's circle. They're also celebrating bell time, remembering those that have died. And the great speech about, we don't remember our old lives, but, we honor those who have passed. I have read a lot about the Wheel of Time theory in television shows, and I have a Steve Barnes original take. Michael McElhatton is saying here that we don't remember our old lives. Earlier in the show, we have Rand who gave Egwene berries and does not remember. Egwene who received the berries from Rand and also does not remember. They don't make anything of that, but I couldn't help but put two and two together. How could they not remember this moment? And now we got him saying we don't remember our old lives. Steve Barnes, on it, buddy.
I like that. But forget reincarnation. I'm all about Ren-incarnation. Rencarnation, I should say. Huh? It's an MC Ren solo album from NWA. Put out in maybe like 2009.
Something else for the show notes? Maybe put a link in the description?
Yeah, guys, listen to MC Ren's Rencarnation.
Well, the main thing that that Rand's father wants to suggest is that we do better than last time, that we live our lives better. So they're doing their thing up the mountains. Down in the village, in the main town of Two Rivers, we get a speech from, this is Egwene's mom, who is standing up, and she kind of has a more Indian look about her, more dark skin. And she's the one who says, we got to give them something worth coming back for. Everybody party. That's Egwene's mom. She's also she runs the tavern as well. She insists everybody party, and everybody does party. Even Layla, you see her smiling and partying. And we cut over, you see Padain Fane in the corner. He's not partying, but he's kind of like watching everybody. He kind of reminds me of like a drug dealer in the corner. Like that's the guy you get the Molly from. Did you have any notes about this party at this point?
Not at this point, but I did have he seemed so casual after the enticing incident is about to happen. When he leaves, I'm like, was he in on this?
Yeah, he does kind of stroll away as if like, okay, later dudes. We haven't got to him quite yet. First they groove normal. It's a normal dance. Everybody's just kind of freestyling it. Then they get into that circle pattern, which I know they did it for the overhead shot. And I know they did it because it's circular and it's a wheel. But it looked like no fun to like turn, clap, clasp hands, get into it. That's the kind of dancing I just do not prefer. When they tell you what to do and everybody does it at the exact same time.
Chicken dance.
I think a chicken dance might be a little. I'm thinking more like the electric slide. I'm thinking
Tootsie Roll.
Say again.
Tootsie Roll.
I guess I'm more of a freestyler. I like to not be told what to do when I'm dancing.
You don't like square dancing?
Heck no. That's the worst of them. That's exactly what they're doing, basically. This is a square dance.
You've heard of line dancing.
Of course.
You've heard of square dancing, but this, Wheel of Time dancing.
It's a new twist on dancing.
The twist!
Well, the twist, everybody does it a little bit. That's another freestyle dance, kind of like the Tootsie Roll. It also could be a freestyle dance.
No. This is the twist is totalitarian. They say, now you do the twist. And they're screaming it at me.
They are, yeah. They're forcing you to do it.
Yeah.
So they're doing this dance, and Egwene grabs hold of it. It looks like she grabs James McCullum to me. This like thin, like good looking guy with the long floppy hair. I'm like, was that James that just got stabbed by a Trolloc? That's when the whole thing goes to shit. These Trollocs attack. But these Two Rivers people, like, even though they're stunned and they're like not knowing what's happening, they pick up arms pretty quick and can fight back.
Not quick. Absolutely not. I just remember two people, and then there is one that we will get into later, that lady's like, hey, come and get it then everyone picks up arms. But I think it took them way too long to start fighting back.
Well, no, they scramble first, but then I think they show pretty quickly, like, people in the background, like, turning around and, like, trying to hit at the fades. Not the fades, the Trollocs. I got the sense that these people could, definitely hold their own against an attack.
I thought they were saying trollops, and I was like, they're calling them, like, hussies? Okay.
I guess that's a Wheel of Time. I think that's a Wheel of Time invented word. Have you ever heard the phrase Trolloc before?
I don't think so. I'm guessing it's troll, but mixed with something else.
That's exactly right. And I've never heard that phrase outside of Wheel of Time. I'm not a Wheel of Time expert or a fantasy expert, but I'm pretty sure that these are within our world only. So, like I said, I think these people are pretty quick to fight back. I don't think they do too terribly bad. Considering they were not prepared for a battle, they were able to fight back and take a couple of them down before our big guns got into the fight.
At this time, I thought, because I didn't know what was going on, I was like, are they trying to force out the Dragon Kid? Will the Dragon Kid rise up and be like, I now have flames for fists and just start punching people?
Well, right. It is kind of revealed, like, later on the show that's the reason that they are there. Moraine is looking for the dragon. These Trollocs are after the dragon as well. And yes.
Wait, are one of these 4 kids coming of age adults? Are they one of the dragons?
Yes. Moraine says that in this episode.
Okay, I took it as, like, one of you are, like, the people who will be able to find or aid the dragon?
No, one of them is the dragon, yes.
Okay. So one of them's going to get flame fists and start punching soon.
Maybe next episode we'll see flame fists and punches galore. Keep
All right,
watching.
hell yeah. This battle reminded me so much of Dungeons and Dragons.
I was really impressed with the single tracking shot of Barney Harris. That's what I wrote down because I'm really not a huge fan of fight scenes and action scenes. But at minute mark 35 minutes, 25 seconds, and it lasts for about 30 seconds, you see a single camera shot of Barney Harris. Let's see. First, he looks stunned. Then he trips over a Trolloc who's eating somebody. When he trips over the Trolloc, he then trips over another dead body. Then he runs through a fire. Then he knocks over a bunch of stuff. And this all happens in one single shot that Barney Harris did. And that was my favorite shot of the episode. Yes.
It's baffled me because at this time, I don't think there's any fighting back happening. And is this when we go back up into the mountains?
Not quite. Nynaeve is trying to care for this elderly bearded guy, and they kind of take a moment of clarity where she and Egwene kind of, when something traumatic happens to people, their frame of time can kind of stop. I was in a bike accident one time, and as I was flying through the air, I had time to notice all the pebbles in the road, and I could see like glints of sunlight. It was like time froze while I was in the air before I hit the ground. I think that is what Nynaeve and Egwene are experiencing right now. They're in such panic shock that they're just taking in this moment with every single one of their senses. At this point, yes, Rand and Tam get a little personal home delivery of a Trolloc attack.
Hell yeah.
So Nard comes in and we learn that that Tam actually can fight his ass off with a sword.
Yeah, I wrote down this entire town has one fighter and one swordsman, and I'm guessing a crane comes into play soon.
Oh, what comes into play?
The bird, a crane, or a goose?
Yes, I was thinking you were referring to like a mechanical crane that was going to come in. And
I think Nicole also thought that when I started screaming, they're a warrior of a crane. And then she's like, what the fuck is he? What?
Refer to it as a heron, because that's what that is.
Okay.
It's a heron. It's a heron-marked blade. And a heron-marked blade is just the stamp of a accomplished blade master. And only an accomplished blade master can have that on their blade. No counterfeits. It's like an NFT of swords.
Ooh.
So yeah, he has a pretty rough time with that fight there, but you know, Rand comes through in the end. Back down in the Two Rivers, everybody's still fighting. This is why I didn't answer your question when I allowed you to ask 3 questions a couple episodes back, and you asked me, is Nynaeve a main character? I did not answer, and this is why, because she's dragged off by a Trolloc in this episode, and she's gone. Egwene sees her taken away, and she says multiple times in this episode, Nynaeve is gone. That's exactly why I didn't answer your question, because it's answered right here, James.
All right. Before that, we missed something. When they were taking in a little bit, a trollop starts trying to fight them, and like she takes out this tiny little dagger and like slices them a couple times, is about to really get into them, and there has to be a Dungeons and Dragons spell that does what the lady I don't enjoy did. Or you want to know what? I guess I'm kind of on her side now. She should have just been using this spell the entire time. She uses a spell of bisecting and just rips one right in half.
Yeah. She takes the power of the light and she's able to focus and rip up some evil. And she alternates between using different tactics. Like sometimes she'll use the light to, like you said, disintegrate them. Sometimes she'll pick up a big boulder and like heave it at them, or sometimes a lightning will strike them. It's because she's using different elements of power, and when she uses one, she has a switch to another to keep the attack going. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That boulder attack was the worst attack, in my opinion, because first off, you're tearing apart a pretty nice building that's been there for a long time. And then boulders know no magic. When a boulder is flying through the air, it doesn't need magic. It already has propulsion, and it can kill anybody, not just a trollop.
I'm guessing, so in D&D terminology, she does, it looks like it's going to be a fireball, but it's probably like a 5th level firebolt because multiple firebolts go out. That thing that brings up, it you know, like a druid spell could do that and wouldn't be as like high of a level. And, you know, you're thinking of your spell slots during the day. And you can kind of crash where that bisecting thing is probably like a power word kill, which is a 9th level spell. That's, I think, as high as they go. But someone needs to homebrew someone has to have done a Wheel of Time Dungeons and Dragons campaign.
Absolutely.
Having power word kill be re-established as like a bisect spell would be devastating, because power word kill instantly kills you if you fail your save. But, or I think, no. I think it's like if you're under a certain amount of HP, it just will kill you. Whereas a bisecting, that's terrifying for everyone. You see your friend like, oh yeah, we're fighting, this necromancer just rips your friend in half. You're like, oh my God, there's no saving them. I'm so sad and terrified.
Well, the non-magic is why I was saying these town people can fight. Exactly that. Nynaeve just pulls out a butter knife and takes on this Trolloc. And then you hear Daisy Conger like yelling, and then a bunch of women like take their pitchforks and they take down a Trolloc by themselves. You know, she's yelling and leading the town people on.
They start screaming, "The Dark One dies tonight." And then the people of Haddonfield should have been Wheel of Time fans, watched this or read it, and they're like, wow, you want to know what? Let's not just hit him with baseball bats. Let's like just shoot him with a bunch of guns many times until the only movement from his body is the force of a bullet going into it. I guess, Mark, spoilers for a Halloween movie. You guys figure out which one.
I'm clueless, so yeah, that's good. Let's see, here we got, you see the town people all looking out for each other, like Perrin's trying to save his wife, and then he saves like other people at the same time, and the blacksmith store, I don't know what you'd call it, storefront, goes on a Wolverine berserker rage, and in doing so kind of takes out his wife at the same time.
Which I felt like this was so pointless.
You're not alone in that thought.
Because, or at least don't make him, because unless they're going to then fuel that to like he becomes influenced by the Dark One because he wants to save his wife or something. But if it's just for emotional stakes throughout the series, it's more emotional to know that you are trying to save your family, and not just the one you love, the one that is you're also trying to save the world that your future child will be raised in.
Right. Yeah, you're onto a lot of things right there. And the reason that we're doing this podcast is because the show is not a simple surface level show. It goes into a lot. So acute observations, keep those things in mind as you're watching. Like, why did Perrin go through that?
I'm a little cutie with my observations.
You're a sweet child of cutiness. So yeah, she grunts a lot, unnecessarily so, in my opinion. He says, look at me a lot. People like to say that, like, look at me as you're dying. I don't understand. Maybe to take your mind off the fact you're dying. I don't know the point of that.
I would tell people if I got sliced in the gut like that, I'd just say, look at my wound. Stare at it.
So, Matt runs into a room. He's got like his parents are there. A bunch of people are in there, but not the girls. His parents are kind of forgot about the girls. Matt runs to find them, takes them out of one hiding spot to another hiding spot. Good move, Matt. I don't understand that at all.
I think because he might be fearing the town could be set on fire. So if they are in like underneath a building while it's set on fire, they're going to die.
Yeah, that's true. That was my first initial thought. The first time I watched this, I was like, okay, I was hiding in a building. And then he finds his girls that are in an even better hiding place. And then he's like, let's run through this Trolloc fight and go to a third hiding place. It's just one of those Steve Barnes pauses. That's all. So Moraine has to go through different levels of magic and different levels of killing the Trollocs. She takes a pretty giant hit. She gets hit by a javelin that goes right through her. And, I'm sure that your thought and my thought too is that's it. But she just casually pulls it back out, and it's not really a big deal. Did that surprise you or not?
Yeah, because at the time I didn't know that they had in Final Fantasy terms, white magic, which is healer magic.
Right. Yeah, they'll get into much more of that in the show. But yeah, just to let you know that she not only can do magic, and not only do people, think she's otherworldly, but she also can take a deadly hit and keep going.
She's like a 9th level cleric and a 9th level wizard, which is pretty badass.
Yeah. I mean, she's the ultimate badass. She's the ultimate badass Aes Sedai. That's why we have a show and she's our main character.
But guess what? Multi-classing doesn't let you get those really high-level skills, but the Dark One, he's full on level 19, whatever the fuck he wants to be.
I can't wait to have a good conversation with you about the Dark One. That's coming up. But yeah, Moraine's playing dodgeball with the Trollocs, and it looks like she wins. But in doing so, she tears up the town. The wine spring inn is gone. Everything's on fire. Rand comes back through town the next day because he needs healing bad. His dad's not looking good. Goes to find Egwene. She informs him once again, Nynaeve's gone, but, Egwene can definitely help. Remember, she was, supposed to be Nynaeve's apprentice. So now she has a
braid.
She got a real quick promotion.
Yeah.
So she's in charge of the healing now. Matt's parents continue to suck. I'm just not seeing any redeeming qualities. Like they shared a brief moment in the Beltane ceremony where Matt handed his mom the lantern, and it looked like there might be like a brief second of a loving moment. And that's the only time I've seen anything nice with the Cawthorns family unit there.
Can I comment on? Of
course.
It's another D&D type thing of when she was trying to do that final spell to just kill all the trollops. It was like hey guys, it takes like a round to prep this spell. Everyone protect the spellcaster because they're about to do something that will just end the battle. It will take us many rounds to end the battle without them.
Correct. Yep. And the healers, you got to save the healers as well. Mm-hmm. I think there's a mention in it's a funny mention. It's either Wheel of Time or Game of Thrones, one or the other, where they're talking about the people that they cannot kill. Don't kill the women, the children, or the blacksmiths. So keep them alive at all costs. Well, all right. So yes, we're back and she's healing people. Moraine comes up to heal Tam, and we see that she has to do some significant healing to him, and it looks like it kind of hurts her in the process. But instead of a thank you, she gets yelled at by Rand, kind of rightly so, because from the townspeople point of view, it's like you guys came into town and all these Trollocs attacked us. Moraine has a little something to say back to them, and we're going to go into that in just a second, but we got to take one more quick break before we come back in with our final thoughts. Okay, James?
Oh, yeah.
And we're back from that brief break. I see James over there jamming to some Tell. Hell yeah, I love those guys too. We're listening to Tell. That's their song Punish off Age of the Wolf. What are you saying over there?
I was letting you know that I'm still here by moving on the camera.
I take it as you were grooving to the beautiful vocals of Dante Duvall. That's what you were doing in my mind.
know who the most protected people in society in these fantasy realms are?
Sure.
Young girls who are blacksmiths.
Absolutely. Layla, she should be the most protected person of all.
Yeah.
But we can't get into that yet. We're still talking about Tell in their album, Age of the Wolf. The song Punish. I think we're still listening to it now. This album just came out 2021. One of my favorites. I got to admit, Hewolf, I'm friends with those guys. Futureprojektor, I know those guys. Tell, I don't know any of these guys. So I'm completely out of my element here. I just completely love the guys. They're also from Richmond, Virginia, a doom metal band. They're going to be playing a festival up in Pennsylvania in April, but before that, they're playing March 11th at the Cobra Cabana. I'm not sure where the Cobra Cabana is. Every time Tell plays, they're playing at some club I've never heard of.
You ever hear this song by Howard Kramer, Dragon Boy Suede, called Douche Minutia?
Of course.
That is one of the storylines, is someone being like, where's this show? Can I get the address? But that's on the promoter or whoever put the poster out. If you're not giving also the address, that is one of my biggest pet peeves. If you just list the venue, but you don't give the full address, because I need to double check, like, is this venue the correct venue?
I guess I should say then that the times that they have played that I've been able to go, it's at a house party or it's like at an underground club. So usually it says, DM for info. So that's what I end up doing. But I still feel like a total tool.
Oh, no. That's on them then. They're inviting that in the good way. The Shithole was a showcase that would happen in Chicago that our friends would put on. Nicole and I both performed at. And that was the same thing. You had to DM them for the address.
So let's get back into the show. Where were we at, James? We were at the very end of the show, weren't we?
Yes. The trollop poison.
Yes. Moraine was letting everybody know the reason all those trollocs were around. It's not necessarily after her and her warder, Lan. She says, they're here for the same reason that I'm here. I'm here for one of you. The dragon is one of you four. I saw this 20 years ago. She gives a nice speech about how she understands that the dragon is one of them. The best moment of the show, in my opinion, is when Matt says to her, have you fully lost your mind? And then she kind of giggles a little bit. That's the only time we see Moraine as a human, is when she kind of laughs at Matt's joke right there. The rest of the show, yeah, she's not the most endearing character to anybody. Any notes right there?
Nope. Just I'm excited to see where this road trip movie takes us.
Right. Yeah. She says the only chance is the White Tower and the Sisters of the Aes Sedai. The Sisters of the Aes Sedai, of course, would be Moraine and those women in red that we saw that were hanging out with that fella earlier in the episode, having a great time with him. So yeah, they say goodbye. Perrin. So we haven't heard a word out of Perrin since this whole thing happened with Layla. Yes, James.
What were they doing in the beginning then?
The women in red?
Yeah.
They were chasing after the two fellows that turned out to be the one crazy guy. Yeah. And then they stilled him. They sucked the magic out of him.
Oh, okay. I thought they just killed him.
No, they sucked out the magic. It's called stilling. And those are also Sisters of the Aes Sedai. So when Moraine says our only chance is the Sisters of the Aes Sedai, that's who she's referring to. These women that can do the magic.
And that's just because they believe men shouldn't have magic.
Not necessarily. The reason that there are their only chance is because nobody else can stop these Trollocs except for people who use magic, or maybe some master swordsmen like the warders.
No, I mean why they sucked that dude's magic out.
Oh, yeah, because men who touch it are filthy and they're evil and men don't deserve it. Exactly. And they also make mention at some point in this episode that the world is broken because of men and their magic. So, yes, the red Aes Sedai ladies seem to just want to suck it out and just get rid of it.
What if I'm just using magic?
I think I said earlier, she was pretty pleased with herself, too. She was smirking and loving that whole moment.
What if I'm just using magic to grow some really heady kind bud?
If they found out about it, same thing, man. I'm sorry. They would
Damn it.
suck it out of you and then they'd smoke all your weed.
What if I was using it to propel a water turbine to make clean energy? I'm not dirtying anything. I'm keeping it clean burning energy.
Are you a man or are you a woman?
I'm a man.
Well, sucking it out of you, buddy. I don't care what you're using it for. It's gone. So I'm worried about Matt's little sisters. Like, who's going to be looking after them once he's gone? What's that?
It takes a village, the town.
He should have given somebody some specific instructions for looking out for these girls. But the episode ends the way that every book begins, with the Wheel of Time description. So at this point, James, I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask 3 questions. They can be show, book, or personal related, and I'll do my best to answer them or veto them. If I veto them, you'll get a chance to ask another question, of course. Mm-hmm. What you got for me today, James?
Well, I think I kind of got them all.
Oh,
like
good.
why
Well,
they suck his magic out, or what happened to that dude. I thought, because I originally thought they were looking for the dragon, and I thought the dragon was a bad person, and that's why they were like, oh, and I thought this was a witch hunt of like, let's find the dragon and kill them. Oh, we don't know who really is a dragon, but just to be safe, we're going to kill everyone we think is.
I think I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that they explain in the show that the dragon has the potential to either save the world or destroy it.
Okay.
So they're just, the women in red are just taking no chances. There's like, if you got magic and you seem evil and crazy, you're done.
Damn.
Okay, so that was one question you had. Can you think of anything else that you were not clear on that now you are? So maybe we can clear up some listeners as well.
I don't think so.
All right.
Does this show stay fun?
I don't want to spoil anything, and I will not, but I will say that when the first time I watched this episode, I liked it. And then when I saw the second and the third and the fourth episode, I loved them.
Hell yeah.
So I think we're heading to good territory here.
And then my third question, I guess, would be, even though it's hard to do sometimes, should Nicole be watching along with me?
Yes, she should, because she likes the same things you like. And, no?
Debatable.
Okay, debatable, but it seems like you guys have a Venn diagram of some specific pop culture, and I think that this could fall in to that Venn diagram.
The things that I like that are shitty, she hates, but the things that I like that are legitimately good, she also likes.
Right. I'm the same way too, because you'll suggest shows to me to watch. You're like, you got to watch Double Dare. And I'm like, I do not need to watch Double Dare.
I think everyone should.
You've suggested other things to watch that I think that are legit, that are, I don't know. I think I'm with Nicole on this. I think Nicole would like it. Mm-hmm. And I think it would be good for her to even not like it and to just get her perspective on it. Because I have Heather's perspective, and it's good. I'm glad that I have it. So, yeah, I think you should enjoy this with another person. I think it'd be a good idea.
All right. That's why a lot of the times I will clarify, because people in my friend group think I just like shitty things, and they're like, everything you like sucks. Which is why I will clarify, no, Nicole also vouches for this. It is good.
Yeah, and I think she would. You said that she kind of like watched over your shoulder a little bit. But yeah, I would give her a chance to like watch the first, because you've already seen the first episode. Mm-hmm. I would give her a chance to watch that on her own.
Ooh.
Like, so she can just absorb it herself. And then you guys watch the second episode together. That's what I would suggest.
All right.
Because you have to watch the second episode here.
Yeah, still.
Have you watched any like teasers for the next episode or anything like that?
No, I'm going in blind.
Good, very good, because I hate when they do that. But all right, yeah, we'll wrap this one up. This is episode 3 of our show, but we just finished watching episode 1, Leavetaking. Next episode, we'll go into episode 2. We played Hewolf, we played Futureprojektor, we played Tell. This is Introvoid and Marshland Monster. My plug is, as always, Instagram, Introvoid, which is intro.void. You get links to my music there, get links to my writings, which I haven't written anything in like 2 months, but you can sue me if you'd like. And James, what about your plugs? What do you got?
Hey, go to mlmpod.com for links and information about all the podcasts I do, most specifically Shuffling the Deck, which is the definitive introductory ICP playlist podcast that Sean Marciniak and I do. Steve has been on it. Or Mostly Speaking Sentai, that's Nicole and I, showing guests in the world the Super Sentai series and try to get our friends into that show again. Steve has been on it multiple times. Then listen to my music under Marshland Monster, as well as go over to patreon.com/MLMpod for exclusive podcasts such as Engage with Nicolas Cage, talking about Beyblade, even though that's ending. This existed, and the Toko Reading Corner.
You know, sometimes you buy something and it becomes capital and you can make money off of it. Well, if you go to James's Patreon and sign up, he's doing a giveaway in a couple of weeks. He's giving away a bunch of stuff, and everybody who enters has a pretty fair chance of winning all that stuff.
Yeah, $5 and $5 patrons get 1 entry, $10 patrons get 2.
Yes, it's a ton. I mean, we're not going to go into here about everything is in there. You're going to see it on mlmpod.com.
Patreon.com/MLMpod.
But yeah, it's well worth it. It's a capital investment. Speaking of capital investments, we're going to say goodbye with our huge investment right here, which is Sweet Child of Time. Until next time, James, may you always find water and shade.
And may you as well.
Thank you very much, and goodbye. You have to say goodbye too, James.
Goodbye.
There he goes.